Apostle. But first off, let's get into this. Like, share, subscribe, and join the channel. So let's get down to the stuff and the mess of today on this Good Friday, y'all. So first off, before I forget about this, let's get into Remy. So Remy ended up talking about. I know she talked about this. I had it on my list of stuff to talk about, but I'm getting to it now. So Remy ended up letting us know that her boyfriend, the battle rapper, he had a credit score of 800. He also make 250K a year, and he treats her better. I said, okay, girl, we needed to know that why. But you gonna keep doing what you do, girl. I said, cause if he treats you better, girl, you out here. I said, you don't take him nowhere. I said, we ain't seen him at the courtside games and or anything. I said, I ain't seen that man in a minute since he sold he excuse me since he tongue tied since he treat you so well, girl. I ain't seen him out and about. So I said, yeah, girl, let me know the real tea. But let's move on past her. Let's give it to Miss Evelyn Lazada. So Evelyn Lazada stopped by TSR, the Shade Room, and try to address the rumor of her and her daughter sleeping with the guy. She said she did this big old section. Right? So the Shade Room asked her, like, is it true that you slept with the guy? No, that is my grandson's father. Yo, and I didn't do the girl. When you did that side, that told me everything. They said, yeah, you didn't did him, girl. You did him. You did him, girl. You did that, man, and we know you did. So don't sit here and tell that lie. Evelyn, you get down with the get down. You done messed around with Shaq, girl, while he was with Shawnee. You ain't got no shame in your game. You done already slept with Tammy ex husband while she was still with him. Girl, you ain't got no shame in your game. And I can see you and your daughter doing something like dating the same man. That's something y'all do anyway. But she came to address it and said that she ain't did none of that. She ain't slept with the gang. That's her grandson's dad. She wouldn't do nothing like that. It's just a rumor. That rumor, that's a lie. I said, okay, girl. Hey, in the chat, how you doing? She said that's a lie. I said, girl, you know you lied. I said when you took that big to address it, I said, that gives Evelyn. That gives her 100%. So let's move on past that. Also, I came across Evelyn, her daughter got a podcast where they sat down with her current baby daddy, the baseball player, sat down and talked about their relationship. And supposedly the relationship all of a sudden, because her daughter asked, like, how did y'all end on good terms? And they both said they did. I said, I don't believe y'all. The co-parenting is okay, but I said I don't believe y'all end on good terms. I said because the way Evelyn acts, I know y'all don't end on good terms, and the way he acts, hell to the no. But I said it's just real crazy. That's not a roach. That's just a wall. Oh, that is not a roach on my wall. That is just the paint off the wall. That's the paint off the wall. That is just the wall. The paint chipped off. That's all that is. But after that, it's actually not a roach on the wall. That's paint. That is paint. That's paint that's chipped off the wall. That's all it is. It's paint chipped off the wall. But moving on past that, let's get into Amber Rose. So Miss Amber Rose out here advocating for Tory Lane, saying that since the videotape and everything has came out, um, and they didn't. His lawyer team then said that they didn't heard security guard heard the girl her used to be bestie Supposedly, then Pow Pow was the one doing the pow powing on the foot of Meg the Stallion. So she out here advocating for him. I said, girl, that ain't true. I said he went to jail for the evidence that they had right then and there. He did it. He wrote a whole album about doing it. But that's what's going on with Amber Rose. She being a sucker as usual. Let's move on to the UK. So the UK actually is doing some reform with their prison system when it comes to offenders. So they're making it. They have a program in place for 20 prisons in England and Wales, where they're making it mandatory for the people who are high offenders. They're going to be chemically castrated. I said, damn. And they actually doing this program. It's already in effect, and the pilot program is working right now, and we'll see how that's gonna go. I said, oh, I said if it works over there, they're gonna, America gonna adapt it. But that's what's going on over there. Let's get into Capital One. So Capital One and Discovery now then got together, and that merger that they've been trying to do for the last 2 years have finally went through. And so now Capital One owns Discovery. I said, yeah, it was a 35 billion. I said, damn. I said, so Discovery, the people who own Discovery got paid good. I wish I owned some Discovery stock. Shoot. But let's move on past that. Let's get into the Diddy thing. So we got what's his name? The celebrity stylist uh Dayton. Dante Nash. So Dante Nash ended up testifying that Diddy ended up assaulting him. He was actually getting Cassie ready for a photo shoot, and he was leaving. And he said as he left the photo shoot in the parking lot, he said Diddy ended up assaulting him, hammering him up, choking him out, and told him, "You gonna have to from now on. You gotta get my permission to leave to go out because she be trying to go out with you." I said, "Dang." I said, "So you listen to him? You let that man tell you what to do? You a grown all because he was running there with her?" Oh no. I can't do that. Sorry. Not gonna do none of that. That ain't my ministry. I'm sorry about that one. So he testified about that. Yeah, that he had to get permission to do any of that, and I was like, oh god. He said he even when he would be styling her and stuff, that he actually get ready to go out or whatever. He said Diddy even yelled at him and told him, "I told y'all about you had to get my permission." I said, "Damn." I said, "What's going on?" I said, "This case is gonna get weirder and weirder as it goes on." So let's move on past that. Let's get into Monique. So Monique and her son, oldest son, actually posted pictures. Um, it got posted yesterday. Of them actually healing. They actually then took pictures together. They spent time, which congratulations. He ended up coming on his TikTok and letting us know he ended up apologizing, which kind of caught me sideways because he said he wanted to apologize to his mom and everything. He don't believe that she should have got backlash. That his family shouldn't have got backlash of how he was feeling because he said it was selfish of him. I said no, it wasn't. It was not selfish of you to actually express how you was feeling at that time. Them were your true feelings and how you felt because you could not express that to your mother. And not only to your mother, but to her husband. You couldn't express it to your mother one on one without having him right there in the conversation. So you ended up expressing your feelings, and he said it was selfish and stuff. So he apologized. I'm like, you could have did that in private. Y'all did that in private. You could have just kept it that way. You didn't have to come out here and let us know any of that. But I said, if that's what you got to do, because you said you was done with the TikTok, coming out here and telling your personal business like that. I didn't get why you did it. Why her son came out here and did that anyway. It seemed to me like that was more of something that his mom and stepdad may have whispered in his ear for him to do. But I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the Monique thing. I'm happy that they are actually healing, because he said they are healing their family dynamic and stuff like that. And I said that's good. Congratulations to them. But that's all I got for y'all. It's your boy Paul. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and join the channel. Bye, y'all.